Hello, my dear friends. Yesterday I read in the news that there was a diamond discovered in the country of Baswana in southern Africa, which is one of the largest diamonds in the world. It's 2,492 carats. That's just incredible. It's like a rock. It's just an amazing find. I have no expertise in diamonds and in carats, and I have no interest in acquiring the Baswana diamond. But I found a diamond a few weeks ago. I was in a shul, and I always look at the Sfarim on the shelves, and I saw a set of Sfarim, 5 volumes on Chumash, written by Rav Chaim Mintz, who's an incredible individual. He's the Rosh Yeshiva, and one of the Rosh Yeshivas in Mashkichim and Mesifta Tiferes Yerushalayim in Staten Island. He's also the founder and the driving force of the Kiruv organization of URA, which does tremendous good. So I saw the Sefer, and I started leafing through it. I was just blown away. Such beautiful Torah, each page with diamonds. More important to me than the Baswana diamond. So I wanted to acquire the Sefer, but where do I get it? I went to one or two Svarim stores. They say it's out of print. I called the distributor. He said it's out of print. So I made scores of phone calls. I was able to acquire, through much effort, 4 out of 5 volumes of the Sefer. And last night I was able to bring home the 4th volume. I was so excited. I was more excited to bring home the 4th volume than I was if I was bringing home the Baswana diamond. I'm not telling you which Sefer I'm missing. I'm missing still 1 volume. I'm not telling you which one it is because I know you. You're such wonderful people. You're going to go start making phone calls for me. You'll call all over the country and maybe all over Eretz Yisrael too to find the Sefer for me. I don't want to be Mashiach anybody. I still hope that I'll be able to find it on my own. But at least I have 4 out of 5. So I want to share with you a diamond that I saw more precious than the Baswana diamond, a diamond that I saw in Rabbi Mintz's Sefer that relates to this week's Parsha. In the last, Kriya Shema is composed of 2 chapters. The first chapter and the second chapter, well, there was actually 3 chapters, but the first 2 chapters are very similar. The last sentence, the first chapter is found in Parashas Ekev, which we read last week, and the second paragraph is in Parashas Ekev, which we read in this week's Parsha. The last sentence in Kriya Shema is a repetition of the mitzvah of mezuzah. Uchsaftam al mezuzos b'sach v'yisharach. You should write the words of Kriya Shema on your doorways, and that's what a mezuzah contains. The first and second chapter of Kriya Shema. That's what, if you open up a mezuzah, that's what's written there. The first and second chapter of Kriya Shema, and you put it up on the doorway. So Rav Chaim Mintz makes the following observation. The mezuzah, in addition to being a tremendous mitzvah, like all mitzvahs, it's a very special mitzvah, but mezuzah has mystical power. First, the Shulchan Aruch says that a mitzvah elongates a person's life. The person lives long, and the children live longer. And it's based on the fact that in this week's parsha, right after the pasuk of the mitzvah of mezuzah, what does it say immediately afterwards? We know it from davening every day. That you and your children should live long lives. So the Shulchan Aruch says the person who has a mezuzah that's kosher, he and his children will live longer. And if the mezuzah is possible, he will live shorter lives. Chas v'shalom. So the mezuzah has that power. In addition, the Gemara says in Menachos that mezuzah is a shmira. Mezuzah has protective power, and the Gemara relates it to the pasuk that we've been saying in Tehillim for the last 9 months. Shir Lamalos, near the end, it says Hashem Shomrecha, Hashem will protect you. Hashem protects a person when there's a mezuzah on his doorway. Hashem protects the person, and it's therefore very common when a person has a crisis in their lives. It could be financial or medical or social or whatever it is, that if you go to somebody, to a Rav for advice or for a bracha, the Rabbanim often will say, check your mezuzahs, because unfortunately many of the mezuzahs are puzzle. Mezuzahs require tremendous skill. A sofer has to be very accomplished to be able to write a mezuzah properly. There's myriads halachas related to each one of the letters, and mezuzah has to be written in a certain way. And if one of the letters is not written properly, or even if there's a crack in one of the letters and the letter is split, the whole mezuzah is puzzle, and it has that impact. Those mystical powers are dissipate if the mezuzah is not kosher. Unfortunately, I've seen many mezuzahs that are puzzle. It's very common. we're supposed to check our mezuzahs on a regular basis because it's easy in the course of time. The mezuzahs sometimes the ink could crack. Very important to have kosher mezuzahs. We spend so much money on insurance policies. This is God's insurance policy to have a mezuzah. So Rabbi Mintz makes the following observation. He says that when people have a problem, so they do a bedika of the mezuzah. Checking a mezuzah is called bedika. Bedika means an examination. And you need somebody who's a bodek, somebody who's an examiner, somebody who knows how to check the mezuzah, somebody with expertise. But he says, checking the mezuzah is only half of what's necessary. I don't know percentage-wise, but it's only a portion of what's necessary in order for the mezuzah to be a shmirah. The other element is, the Rambam says, that mezuzah conveys important lessons. And whenever a person goes in and out of the house, he has to think about what is the mezuzah teaching. The mezuzah teaches v'ahavta Hashem Elokecha, that you should love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's that the mezuzah teaches Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that Hashem is the only one. He's the only force in the universe. That everything is controlled by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Rambam, in his very beautiful language, describes a number of things that a person should be thinking about when he sees the mezuzah. And the Rambam says that when a person goes in and out of his house, the mezuzah reminds a person to be yar mishinoso, that a person should awaken from a spiritual slumber. There's nothing that stands forever, for eternity, except for the knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There is nothing else that is permanent in life. And if it's not permanent, it means it's inherently not valuable. Something that you can have the most magnificent picture, the painting and this and that, but if it doesn't last, then it's not truth, and it's not inherent value. The only thing that's a value is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu's mitzvahs, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu's will. And the Rambam says, when you think about that, miyad hu chozer l'daito. When a person thinks about it, he returns to his senses. The mezuzah is a wake-up call. It's soon going to be Elul. We blow the shofar. The Rambam says the same thing about shofar. The shofar is uri yishay mishinas, and wake up from your slumber, because there were people who waste their lives doing things that aren't important. So the mezuzah reminds the person the same thing. And miyad chozer, when he thinks about it, then he immediately returns to his senses. So Rabbi Mintz says that if a person, when he sees the mezuzah, and that's why the Shulchan Aruch, by the way, says that you're supposed to touch the mezuzah when you leave the house, to be reminded of these things. There are Rizal says you take your middle finger and you kiss it after you touch the mezuzah. So Rabbi Mintz says that if a person does a bedika on the mezuzah, and it's a beautiful mezuzah, and people could spend $500 on mezuzah, it's a magnificent mezuzah. But if he does a bedika, an examination, and the mezuzah is kosher, but it has no impact on the person's soul, and we'll be honest, almost all of us, when we go out of the house, do any of us think about the things that the Rambam says you're supposed to think about? The purpose of the mezuzah, in addition to being a mitzvah, is to remind us of what's important in life. It's to refocus us. And I think the reason why the mezuzah is on a house is because we have a false sense of security in a house, and in a house people do things that they waste their lives, they're distracted with all sorts of things that are trivial and have absolutely zero value. It's nonsense, and life is so precious. Every second is precious, and people squander the moments of their lives, the things that are important. So the mezuzah in our houses is supposed to remind us. We go through the rooms in our house and we see the mezuzah and we touch the mezuzah. It's supposed to remind us of what is important in life, and it'll help us come to our senses. Unfortunately, I would say that we almost never think about those things. It requires effort to think about it, and it requires discipline. Then when you touch the mezuzah, think about the message of mezuzah. So Rabbi Mintz says that if a person does a bedika on the mezuzah, but he doesn't do a bedika on his heart, he doesn't check to see if has the mezuzah impacted on me, then the mystical qualities of protection that the mezuzah provides are greatly diminished. I think it's a magnificent idea, and it's something that requires effort and focus. That when we see the mezuzah, we should remember that the mezuzah is reminding us of what's important in life, and it refocuses our minds. I want to develop a further idea along these lines, building on what Rabbi Min said. The parsha of mezuzah, the mitzvah of mezuzah is repeated twice. In last week's parsha, it just mentions at the end of Kriya Shema, of the first chapter and the second chapter, it's repeated twice. Why is the mitzvah repeated twice? And the two parshas are right next to each other. Why does it have to be repeated twice? And so the Gemara says that if you don't have a mezuzah, you violate two mitzvahs. And if you have a mezuzah, you're fulfilling two mitzvahs. Why do I need two mitzvahs? Why should there be two mitzvahs? So there's other mitzvahs is one mitzvah. Why do you need two mitzvahs for Kriya Shema? So I was thinking, the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says, Ramosha Isserles, he wrote the glosses on the Shulchan Aruch. He says that when you touch the mezuzah, you should say the following: Hashem Yishmor Tzeisi Uvoi, that Hashem protects me when I come and when I go. When you leave the house, that's what you should say. That's based on the pasuk I mentioned before, that the in the Shir Hamal in Tehillim Shir Hamalos Kapitel Kuf Chaf Aleph, it says Hashem Shomrech, God protects us. So two psukim later it says Hashem Yishmor Tzeisi Uvoi, Hashem protects your coming and you're going and you're coming. So the Ramah says, say that phrase, but instead of saying it in third person, Yishmorcha, or second person to protect you, say it in first person, Yishmor Tzeisi, my going and my coming. Yishmor Tzeisi Uvoi. So that being the case, that when you and so the Ramah says you should think. I have to explain another point. Why does the Ramah say you say that when you're leaving the house? Why not say it when you're coming into the house? So I think it's because when you leave the house, then you in a house a person creates hopefully a person creates a religious environment in the house. But when a person leaves the house and he's going out into the world and it's so secular and there's so many distractions and so many things going on and the values of the people around the world are so contrary to Torah. So that's where, in particular, a person has to be reminded and say, Hashem Yishmor Tzeisi Uvavi. So now, perhaps the reason why there are the mitzvah of mezuzah is repeated twice is because the first parsha of Shema is in singular. V'ahavta eis Hashem Elokecha. Everything is v'ahavta. You should love Hashem. The second parsha, Vayim Shemo et Tishmu, if you will remember the words of Hashem, it's in plural. It's talking to the tzibur, to the Jewish community. So there's two mitzvahs of mezuzah, because there's one mitzvah of mezuzah for the individual, and there's another mitzvah of mezuzah for the community. Because it's not enough that a person should want the mezuzah to be a protection for himself. He should want the mezuzah to be a protection for the community. I once suggested, during COVID, I actually thought of this idea. When we sing Shalom Aleichem, we welcome the Malachim into our house. The Malachim also there's an element of Shmirah for the Malachim. So the last phrase, there's four phrases of Shalom Aleichem. The last phrase is Tzeis Shalom. You should go out in peace. So many people don't say Tzeis Shalom because the Gra didn't say it. Why are you sending the Malachim away? Why are you telling them Tzeis so long? Goodbye, good riddance. Why are you saying Tzeis Shalom? So I suggested, because after a person experiences Shalom in his house for himself, he needs to send the Malachim to the rest of the world. Tzeis Shalom. Go around the world. There's so many tragedies around the world, so many difficulties, so many fighting, and so much illness, and so many problems. Tzeis Shalom. Go out to the world. So I was thinking the mezuzah perhaps is the same message that a person has to. The message of mezuzah is not only for when you go into the house. The mezuzah is supposed to be the right side when you go into the house, but it's tzeislo uveyecha. It's when you're coming, but also when you're going, and what just as a mezuzah could be a shemira for yourself, it could be a shemira for the rest of the world. If you connect to the mezuzah and you understand its message and you feel it, so when you leave the house and you touch the mezuzah and you say Hashem Yishmor Tzeisi Yuvoy, that Hashem should protect when I leave the house, just as when I'm coming to the house. So there's the individual level of that, and there's the communal level. The first time when it says in Kriya Shema, it's in the first parsha, it's individual. So I want for myself that I should be protected as I leave the house. That just like I'm protected in the house, I should be protected when I leave the house also, and then my values should be on target. But it's also when you leave when the second parsha is in the plural. Yeah, everything is speaking to the tzibur, to the community, because I have to be concerned. A Jew should be concerned not only about myself. I should be concerned about the rest of the world as well. I have to be concerned about my fellow Jews, and it's not only fellow Jews; it's all of humanity. So I have to take the message of Shema, Hashem Yishmar Tzeisi Yuvayi, and Hashem protects me when I'm in the house, but not only in the house, but when I leave the house. I have to relate that not only for myself, I have to relate that for all of mankind, and that's why perhaps there's the two mitzvahs of mezuzah. One is for the individual, and one is for I'm the one that promotes that, but I'm promoting it for myself, and I'm promoting it for the entire world. The last few days I was watching parts of the DNC. The Democratic National Convention, and then 2 weeks ago was the RNC. It made me so anxious and uncomfortable, because as Jews, what are we thinking about when we watch the political scene? We're thinking about Eretz Yisrael. Look at what has been happening the last 9 months, and it's longer already. And who is going to be our politicians this coming year? Who's going to be the president? Who's going to be our senators and the House of Representatives? It's going to have an enormous impact on the state of Israel and on Jews around the world, where anti-Semitism is rampant, and it's going to have an impact on the status of the hostages, everything. Now, of course, in the end, the Ribono Shel Olam runs the world. But we want the Ribono Shel Olam, our desire and our tefillah is that Ribono Shel Olam should run the world in a way that's beneficial for mankind, and particularly beneficial for Klal Yisrael. So when I'm watching, it's so frightening to me to see the range of possibilities, and I listen to what the people have to say, and I don't want to get off topic, but most of the stuff is not too impressive. It's so much trivialities that are mixed in, and it's theatrics and everything. We need people that are devoted and committed to helping the Jewish people and to helping mankind around the world. So, after reading what Rabbi Min said, I take heart with the fact that I can't control who's going to become president. I can't control the politicians. That's out of my hands. But what I could control is I could kiss the mezuzah when I'm leaving my house, and I should say, with kavana, Hashem Yishmar Tzeisi Yuvayi. My leaving and my coming should be protected by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I'm going to think about the two parshas of Kriya Shema. It should protect me as an individual, but it should also protect all of Klal Yisrael and all of mankind. And Mirz Hashem, let's hope that the shmira of the tefillah that we talk about, that we say every day in Shir HaMalos, Hashem Yishmorcha, Hashem protects us, and Hashem Yishmor Tzeis L'Ve'echa, Hashem protects us. So we're in our houses and we're leaving our houses, and Mirz Hashem, that should relate to our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, and to the hostages, and to all of Klal Yisrael. And in Mirz Hashem, we should see a fulfillment of that, and there should be peace throughout the world, and in particular, Shalom Al Yisrael. Thank you for listening. Have a good Shabbos.